Hello, beautifuls. I want to share a little bit about how it's going in my world. So I am back in the States after a 2.5-month journey, travel solo, and this is my integration period. This is my time to reconnect with my typical life and to weave in elements of my experience, my growth, my change into my next phase. Hello, beautiful. Motherhood smacked me upside the face, like was front and center as I was landing in the country. And it's been a day and a half now, and it's required me to process some things. You know, we are always processing something, and sometimes it's in our face and sometimes it's not. And right now this is in my face, and it's to the tune of finding my footing as a mother in living the life that I want to live and being a mother. And this is not everyone's story. This is my story. And I've been feeling energetically some like scorn and, criticism, judgment from others, not sure who, don't need to know, none of my business, around how I am showing up as a mom. And a piece of me that's very disconnected from me has known that I get to do this my way. And another piece of me has known that it's going to look different from the typical, roles. For instance, I love to travel. I love the idea of traveling with my children, and I've been doing it since they were born, and we love traveling together. And for another instance, my former partner, the fact that I'm divorced, that's another atypical thing, right? Actually growing in number right now as the statistics seem to lean in on divorce more and more. My former partner is a full-time dad, so I have liberties and freedom and flexibility with time. I am an entrepreneur. Not all moms are entrepreneurs, so I am working. I'm building a business. I'm tending to my work. I am a spiritual practitioner, and so I'm always in process or in reflection. Meditation is a big part of how I spend my day. Hello, beautiful. So with that, it's presenting just a real opportunity for me to claim those elements, those aspects of myself, and not apologize for them or shrink them down or minimize them despite being a mom, or as I also am a mom. Hello, beautiful. Thank you for being here. So, feeling the criticism from others has been kind of like an annoying jab in the side. And I know that's none of my business, and yet because I don't have this mom thing down, I don't have a manual, I don't feel like I know that I'm doing it to my fullest ability at all times. I don't know where I can do better. I'm just feeling my way in the dark on it. This is really causing me to have a lot of introspection and compassion, and I'm leaning on my mentor and just finding my center, and the revelation for me recently has been that I've got waves of frustration around feeling trapped as a woman, abiding by rules that don't suit me. I mean, I felt that way as a medical doctor. I felt that way in so many capacities. every healing craft I studied, I appreciated it and respected it, but knew it wasn't going to be my tool. I knew I was going to use facets of the tool, but not the full tool. I wouldn't, devote myself to pranic healing, to polarity chelation, acupressure, et cetera, right? Reiki. And I've had to, over 25 years, frankly, 27 years now, find my way, allow my own healing prowess to develop, allow my own healing techniques and technologies to emerge and arise. And all the while it's required just staying true to myself. So I'm in process on motherhood now and recognizing an opportunity to do that again. And yesterday I processed waves and waves and waves of anger and rage and frustration at what the collective think, I guess, around what it means to be a good mother. Because when I think about what it means to be a good mom and the ways that they kind of come up against the ways that I want to be in my fullest expression of myself, not as a mom, but just as a woman, I felt like they were crushing parts of my identity, anchoring me, tethering me here. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you so much, beautiful. Thank you. And I just had to process it out. And of course I called my mentor. This is what mentors are for. And it's such a good thing to have a mentor, and she could see what I could not see. Sometimes you're in the eye of your own storm and all you see is just the shit show circling around you, but you can't see how big it is. You can't see it from the outside. You can't find the edges of it. And she was just able to help me nail it and just say, this is stuff that I have an opportunity to process on behalf of many women of the past, many women of the future, many women of today, as well as myself. Processing the anger and the rage and the frustration and the compression vibes, the feeling of being trapped, stuck under a role that you're expected to perform that isn't really feeding your soul. So I'm going to find my way out. I'm not, I have no doubt about that. And I get to do it from a place of knowing that I get to be whole and that I don't have to sacrifice. And even that feels a little crazy because motherhood has meant sacrifice for me. Literally, motherhood and sacrifice are synonyms in my psyche. And that's a growth opportunity that I have. And I see beautiful women in my very, very near field. My business partner, Amy Belair, our fantastic assistant, Marie. These are women who carry the mother archetype so gracefully. It doesn't mean sacrifice. It means joy for them. And so I'm ready to wiggle into that level of awareness and being. And it's hard right now. It's really hard right now. And I'm simply sharing it just to share, because I know that there are others out there who have felt the constriction of being a woman and the constriction of following expectations and obligations. And I read a piece in the Priestess Codes book that I wanted to share because it was such a beautiful permission giving. Now I want to remind you, the Priestess Codes book is a channeled book, completely and totally channeled. And as the integration therapist for the book, let's just say, the integration doula, I get to kind of chew and ruminate on the book, on these pieces, and bring it down to the 3D level, to the lived experience. And as a channeled work, I feel like it's vibing in the truth frequency, and so it's giving me permission, right? It's giving all of us permission. So this is what I'm doing for myself, and I wanted to do it for you too. So it's a very short excerpt. It's only 7 lines long, but I'm just going to read it. So, priestess. A priestess is more of a being rather than a doing. But of course, on the earth plane, we also have to do as well in order to be in balance. We have to be both. We are in service to no one. We are in service to ourselves, even when we are in relationship, even when we are married, even when we are mothers, even when we are daughters, even when we are friends, sisters, healers, coaches, guides, or mentors. We are not in service to our clients or our family or our friends or our audience. We are in service to ourselves, and they benefit as a result of that. Anyway, as we allow that transmission to just sit and unfold, it feels rooting, and it feels centering, and it feels like permission to release our sense of obligation and overstretching and overgiving and just being outside of ourselves, because that's thinning ourselves, right? That's stretching ourselves thin, and we're losing our potency when we do that. So that's my take-home message for myself. And as a mom committed to being the best I can be, I'm using that to assert that I'm going to show up fully for them when I am with them, right? Because as a divorced mom, I don't get them all the time. I'm not with them all the time. I have them half the time. And so my practice is now to get my work done so that I have full availability to them when we are together. Now, granted, we're not going to be together doing stuff 24/7, right? You got to take a break, and I'll still be doing my meditations. I'll still be, right? But I can invite them to join me. These are things that aren't second nature for me, and it's an opportunity for me to grow here. I'm a great mom. I don't question that. I know I'm a great mom, but it's really nice to see where I can clean up my edges. Great question, Morgan. You ask, as you grow stronger, do you ever stop feeling weak periodically? I would say no, because the weakness is the ebb in the flow that propels you forward. When you discover, a thin spot, I guess, in your way of being, it's an opportunity for growth, right? And I think the real question is, what do we do when we're presented with that opportunity? Do we shit on ourselves and feel stuck and get caught up in shame of it and shaming ourselves and guilt at how we didn't do or show up the way that we could have? Or do we quickly catch ourselves and say, you know what, this feels like a growth opportunity, and then we decide, do I want to tackle that now or do I not? And in tackling it, I mean, do I want to love up on it, right? And for me, this one brought up, waves of anger, right? And anger that I'm carrying for myself as well as for others. Anger from back to when I, decided to have children. I was married 8 years, and I did it out of a sense of obligation, That's a heavy thing to say. What energetically are my kids carrying of that, right? And, oh, man, it's easy for me right now as I'm talking to just drop into guilt, like, holy fuck, I failed them, right? And I could go there, and I think it's important that I not. And this is where I get to settle in and actually recognize they chose to come in too. They chose to come in through this portal. They chose me. They chose the circumstances of my shitty, crazy, chaotic marriage at the time. It wasn't crazy and chaotic. It was calm and chaotic. It was subliminally chaotic, entangled, enmeshed, messy. And I am thriving and doing everything I set out to do in my life. That's how I feel. And they're getting to witness that. So it's still a win, even with the bruises and bumps along the way. Thanks for your question. Yeah. So I'm very much in process, and I just wanted to share that. And it's funny because in a way, this moment of motherhood, facing motherhood and cleaning up the energy around that for myself is me liberating myself. It's a small dot in this grand dot portrait, right, of myself, liberating myself even further. I've done such a good job of liberating myself on so many other levels, and here's one that's needing or ready for attention, and I'm here for it. I am here for it, and it hurts, and it's uncomfortable, and it's wrought with, like I said, guilt, and not so much regret, but just second guessing myself, and I'm recognizing, just as I say this, that the whole liberation thing is such a big part of my work. It's such a big part of my mission. It's such a big part of the Priestess Codes. It's really reconnecting us with, to take a quote from the Priestess Codes, reconnecting us with our uncorrupted original blueprint, reconnecting us with our original makeup. Oh, thank you for that quote, beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, so you see me strong and you see me weak. We all have it, and I'm not ready to shame that. I don't want to shame that. I get to be weak, and I get to be held up and supported. And motherhood is such a tender topic, because so much of your sense of self-worthiness and worth and goodness and efficacy in the world is wrapped up in motherhood. It's a lot. Thanks for joining us. And what I was shown yesterday, as I was literally yelling, I am free. Freedom is free. I am free to be free. I was yelling that at the top of my lungs. Hello, gorgeous. Yes. Yes. I'm going to read that out loud. Balancing liberation and not sacrificing my children's authenticity and truth is hard for me. Yes. Yes, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. Yep. That's what this is about for me too. Claiming our sovereignty, in all the levels, on all the ways, right? In all the ways, on all the levels, right? Starting with being authentically ourselves, right? Not cowering down and being quiet and withholding our opinions about politics or whatever ever, right? Sorry, I'm seeing an analogy now of not letting your partner just drop his dirty socks all over the house, and that's a total metaphor, right? But they stink. And they're just little stink bombs that are just around the house, right? I don't sit by quietly while my people in my space spout their opinions about current events and whatnot without removing myself now, I don't want to condone that. I actually don't want them to assume, as many of them do, a lot of them male, that it's a unanimous perspective, And let's say, even if it is, why drop a stinky sock in the room by fuming about it, Take that outside. But back to sovereignty, making time for ourselves, making time for our giftings to come in. I mean, I've talked about that at length, but it never gets old because we're always aware of other things that we could be doing. I've got laundry inside, I've got dishes to wash, right? But I need to be taking time for my meditation or for my stillness or to connect with my guides who, even if you don't see them or know that they're there or feel that they're there, that they're there, and it's important that we acknowledge them. Thank them for their service and assert that we are available and be available. Because if we want those subtle energies to make themselves known, the subtle insights, those big aha intuition moments to hit us, if you want your psychic giftings to really feel solid and known so you're not questioning if you're making it up, you've got to make yourself available, right? For that muscle of your inner ear to attune itself to just that frequency, But society wouldn't have us have free time. Society has a virtuous, industrious woman busy all the time doing for others. And that's that masculine energy. We're not pooping on men, we're just speaking. that that we've said okay to, we've taken it on, right? So thank you, Chelsea, for saying that. Liberation is, it's just that. It's liberation. It's unsnagging unsnagging ourselves from the tethers of the obligations. It's freeing ourselves up and taking flight to receive new insights and clarity, to really align with our mission, whatever it is we're doing day to day, right? It doesn't really matter what you do day to day, but you can still be in alignment with your overarching mission, right? And for a lot of us who are drawn to my work, we have the same mission in some way or another. We are here seeding awareness or seeding up vibes to help up level and upgrade our conscious awareness, to elevate the consciousness, to help ourselves vibe higher, help ourselves vibe higher, to help our consciousness vibe higher, to help us realize and be aware of life and elements of life beyond just this 3D, very physical, very seen plane. There's so much more. There's so much more. And I've been playing with, consciousness, right? Like concepts of bilocation and remote viewing and remote healing on a new level, like the mechanics of it, piecing apart the mechanics of it, creating a step-by-step guide for it. And I love that. And it's just fun. It's just fun. It's not how I have to fulfill my mission, but it's just fun. But it really is about the mission work for me. And being in alignment with my mission doesn't have to stop the moment I'm in mom mode. And I'm having to clean out a whole bunch of crap out of my, psychic basement to make space for the new ways to present themselves. Do I think my kids are going to want to meditate with me over playing on their iPads? No. But we will have specific times for iPads, and we will have specific times for doing stuff out in the world that is going to cultivate a richer connection with Gaia and nature and source and energy and energetics and all that is, I've been doing my part in other ways with emotional intelligence and other things, but I'm seeing clear opportunities for me to bring them in more into who I am and what I'm doing. I spent a great deal of time with plant medicine when I was in Costa Rica, and the shamans would say that children received plant medicine, very small amounts, but just to have those communications happening between the plants and their bodies. That blew my mind. Like, I've heard shamans talking about children at as young as the age of 2 having plant medicine, and some of them are in the shamanic lineage, so they're being raised to be shamans, but some of them are just children of shamans, nephews and nieces of shamans living in the village with the shamans, right? And this is like deep Amazonian, shamanism here. And I'm sure this happens all over. I really am not surprised. I've heard this similarly before, but I just thought, what? That's just crazy. But now I'm starting to recognize, like, this is yet another way to just connect us with, we could call it our source. We could call it Mother Nature, Mother Earth. Anyway, I've enjoyed this ramble. I feel complete. I actually feel lightness in my heart now, and really appreciate this presence. It's nice to have a little connection with you all. Are there any closing words? Anybody have anything they'd like to add or ask? Thank you for being here. I'm going to end now. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you, beautiful.